Roger with the weekly Pele report for August 6th of 2025. I'm up here at Alegria Village. Am in their community garden. Yes, indeed. We have the full moon coming up on Saturday in Aquarius, the sign of community. As that sun moves through Leo and Mercury stations and goes direct next Monday, hallelujah. Thank the stars and spirits. If we make it to Monday, could be quite the weekend with a stationary Mercury, but there's just so much going on. This could be a little bit of a techie report here because there's two kites. And a kite is an aspect involving 4 different planets. And it's basically that Mercury is opposite Pluto, and Pluto is trine, okay, to Uranus and Mars. So Mars and Uranus are sextile to Mercury, and that makes a kite. And then there's another kite, and that is a grand trine between Mars and Pluto and Uranus, only it's opposite Saturn and Neptune over there in Aries. So Pluto and Uranus are sextile to Saturn and Neptune. So this configuration is really a lot to discuss today. And if that wasn't enough, Venus is coming up to a beautiful conjunction with Jupiter. That's happening the same day, Monday. Okay, but it's really happening all week. Give it a couple of degrees, and it's, good fortune in love and money happening in Cancer, home and family. I'll talk a little bit more about that. But, just in closing for the aspects here, yeah, the moon is going to be moving into Aquarius tomorrow, hitting Pluto, right? Moving through Aquarius, through the weekend into Sunday. Gonna go up over there and move into Pisces. And finally, last but not least, by Tuesday, she's going to go into Aries. So I'm going to get up out of the garden here a little bit and see if I can get you a nice view of these mountains for the background and talk at you. Woo-wee! All right. Well, if I don't do it now, I just will never do it. This rock is not very comfortable. I went all over the Alegria Village looking for a beautiful spot overlooking the valley with mountains in the background, and what do you get? There's a yoga class going on, people talking on the phone, there's construction, people cutting, there's weed whackers. I'll tell you, community is a blessing and a curse now, isn't it? Aquarius, everything has 2 sides to the coin. We are in a 3rd dimensional reality. And there is good, evil, black, white, up, down, gain, loss, you name it. Yeah, light and shadow. Well, I just feel a lot better out here in the woods, by the creek, with the water flowing. And yes, the waterfall may be a little noisy, but it's not as bad as a chainsaw. So I'm going to get a little bit more into this community. But first, we really need to look at the big picture. Aquarius is the big picture. This full moon happening in Aquarius, is opening us up. The north node of the moon in Pisces is, the collective unconscious, the collective consciousness, and our communities now are not just neighbors. The old days of, know your next door neighbor are pretty much gone. A lot of people don't know their next door neighbors. We have global communities. We have online communities. right? You know, we have people that gather in cyberspace from all over the place. And there's something that is very beautiful about that, because you could feel very alienated, isolated, different, weird, you know, if you just compared yourself to the people on your street or in your little neighborhood or at your school. But now it's like there's diversity with numbers. And you know, it's like you can reach out across the ocean and find like-minded souls that are going to support you no matter how crazy you are. Anyway, what do I want to talk about? I want to the big picture is also time. We have to look at these two kite configurations and kind of dissect them. It's way more than I can do in a tiny little Pele report. Okay, this is where astrology can get really complex. And I don't know if I have, you know, complex desired listeners here. So I mean, I try to simplify things as much as is possible, but you know that we talk about the full moon is an illumination. It's a culmination of a seed that was sown at the new moon. So we had that new moon in Leo. Now we're coming up to a full moon opposite in Aquarius. So we sowed the seeds for this monthly cycle a couple of weeks ago. What we want to look at is also the bigger picture, is that we sowed the seeds for Mars moving into Libra today, like now as I speak. Okay, Mars goes around every 2 years, but he did a big long retrograde, if you remember, a few months ago. So he was not back. Here's Mars opposite Saturn, Neptune. It was back in the first couple weeks of April of 2024. Can you go back that far? Do you remember what was happening almost a year and a half ago in April of 2024? That's when Mars hit Saturn. 2 weeks later, it hit Neptune. And that was the ending. That really signaled, okay, in Pisces, Saturn closing a 30-year cycle, Neptune closing a 165-year cycle. And here comes Mars, okay, to like really, boom, cut the cords with the past and dream a new dream going forward. And Saturn is commitment. So Mars Saturn could separate it. It, you know, it's so amazing. Like, you know, even Saturn in Libra, Mars in Libra has to do with marriage and divorce. It's not one or the other. It's a commitment to a goal, and that goal can bring you closer to somebody or bring you farther away and break off a relationship. So in April of 2024, Mars comes around to Saturn and Neptune, and you know, we are in this changing of the paradigm, changing of the guard, the end of an old paradigm, thousands of years. So that was a time where Mars came along and said, boom, this is what I'm going to let go of, and this is the dream I'm going to go for. And now, almost a year and a half later, it comes into this full moon, this full opposition. Only now Saturn and Neptune are in Aries. Mars has gone up into Libra. And so it has to do with maintaining my own sovereignty, my own personal truth, while also Mars in Libra is seeking relationship. It wants to connect. And so we have, again, Aries, Libra, first house, seventh house. We have this, little tug of war between independence and interdependence, intra-dependence. Not codependence, that's a shadow. Nobody wants to do that, right? So Mars has been moving around, since then in the personal signs. It's been time to get in touch with ourselves, our truth, maybe our people and our community. And now Mars is going into Libra. It's going to be there for a couple of months. And it's time. And this may be confrontation. This may be cord cutting. This may be initiating something new with someone new. This may be discussing and really co-creating some dream that was dreamt, but now it requires, there's more consciousness. There's more consciousness. So these kites and life in general is all about going deep. We are going deep now with Saturn, Neptune till next February. I've said it a million times, right? We're going deep and we're bringing up our unconscious needs, our unconscious fears, our unconscious feelings. This also goes true with what? Mercury opposite Pluto. Talk about deep thoughts, deep ideas, deep discussion, deep psychotherapy. Hang on to your hats. Mercury was conjunct Pluto last January 30th, the 29th and the 30th. And that was like a volcano. Pluto rules volcanoes. This emotional, lava coming up to the surface of consciousness to be seen by the ego, by the conscious self. And now, 8 months later, 7 months later, Mercury comes around, and again, it's in the sign of Leo, which is again this sovereignty to self. And I think with both of these aspects, Mercury opposite Pluto and Mars opposite Saturn, happening at the same time, okay, this is all about, how can I put it? Admitting to ourselves first what is true and real for me. Using my desires, Mars, okay, and my, attitude, my thoughts and my communication, Mercury, to really tap into and in a way distance myself from the collective, from the community. I had to come down out of the village, down by the creek, to, to be able to think and deliver a Pele report, right? So you may need to, spend some time, contemplating, but then, and here's where the shift comes this week, okay? I mean, Saturn, the moon is still in Capricorn till tomorrow, right? So we don't come out, we don't come out of Earth into, the collective consciousness. We don't come into that full moon energy, and Mercury doesn't really move retrograde into this kite and Mars, okay, moving. So these kite formations, really are intensifying through the weekend. So this weekend is like a big breakthrough. Yeah, that's what this mantra is about this week. It's really for this weekend. Okay, it's like breaking out. It's like breaking free. And this starts with admitting that we're locked up, admitting that we're blocked, admitting, that, this is, this I want to change, this I want to, this I need, this I'm afraid of. And, my life, I want to improve, I want to change, I want to grow, I want to evolve myself and my life. And spirit, our soul nature, is 100% behind us by God. And thank goodness we've got Venus conjuncting Jupiter in Cancer. My own personal inner child, my own feelings, my own need to be nurtured and loved and protected and safe. It's time for me to really get in, to my watery nature. I want to read you the Sabian symbol, not the whole thing, but this Venus Jupiter, it's a very interesting Sabian symbol. There's a little bit of a contrast. I want to just bring it up because it goes and develops with this full moon Sabian symbol that I want to read. So this is in a sumptuous dining hall. Guests relax after partaking of a huge banquet. Community, guests, banquet, hello. The need that exists, and here's the very important part, at an early stage of human growth, to materialize the concept of fulfillment. So in a banquet, and it goes on about, them eating, maybe overeating, but there is this, how can I say, the Western mentality of capitalism, of materialism, of competition, right? Of measuring success by the size of the bank account, or by the size of the house, or the latest brand of the car, right? This is Saturn. This is, it's a paradigm that we've been living in, with, through, evolving and growing, right? Through Pluto in Capricorn since 2008. And what does that lead us to? Oh, por Dios. Let me read you the Sabian symbol for the full moon in Aquarius at the 17th degree of Aquarius. A watchdog stands guard, protecting his master and his possessions. The development of the capacity to protect oneself and to safeguard one's individual rights under complex social pressure. What seems to be implied in this symbol, considering its position in the entire cycle, is that under present-day social conditions, the individual needs protection against the ever-growing encroachments of society upon his theoretically recognized right to lead a private life, free from public interference. Seen in this light, the symbol stands in contrast to the preceding one, depicting the power of big business. At a deeper occult level of interpretation, it also reveals the need to protect oneself against, in quotes, astral intrusions and perhaps black magic. The more so as one ventures into supernormal states of consciousness. It is said that the adept trains certain subhuman entities, elementals, to protect him. The Christian religion speaks of guardian angels in a related sense. So this is another aspect of the relationship of the individual to society. Individuals, of course, do also seek to rob or injure other persons. But the state of affairs resulting from a society glorifying competition, ambition, and success at any cost is largely responsible for individual violence. The more creative the person, the greater his or her need for protection. That's a lot to swallow. That's a lot to contemplate. You may want to rewind, listen to that a couple of times. There are many different concepts at play here, because Mars is the warrior. Mars is the shield. Mars is the protector. It's not just anger, violence, and, go get them. The highest expression of Aries and Mars is the guardian. And here we have him moving into Libra. This is very beautiful, right? The sign of justice, equality, and peace. So Mars may want to negotiate peace. Mars can, and it's this opposition to Saturn. And what are we going to do? Are we going to repeat the past, the old paradigm? Or are we going to come into the new future of Neptune, downloading through the crown chakra unity and love consciousness? So what I'm seeing and what I'm feeling and putting together here is with Mercury in Leo and Mars in Libra, it's time for each of us to assert ourselves, our truth, our desires, our needs, initially to ourselves, secondly to our beloveds, and thirdly to our neighbors and the world at large. Yeah? It's time to come out. Virgo's coming out into the social sign of Libra. Full moon in Aquarius, the social sign of the zodiac. We make this new paradigm. We create this new paradigm. Now we can protect, hide, fear, stay home at our banquets and eat till we're gorge ourselves, right? Or we can take the chance, take the risk, have the guts to lay it out there and see what happens. Like the hero in a Hollywood movie who's been captured and held down below. With the help of my friends, my mind and spirit, I will find the way out. I know. So, Mercury is the mind. We see, right, the prison walls of the cage that we've built ourselves, that we've created unconsciously at birth through family, home, community, planet Earth, the country we live in, the government, whatever. We're all boxed in the third dimensional realms. We use our mind and we see it. Then we call in spirit. And we get a little help from our friends. That is the song for this week. I like Joe Cocker's version. I'm going to put it down below in the notes, the link. Okay, with a little help from my friends. Yeah. I'm not going to sing it. Somebody just... Anyway. But there's another song that I'm thinking of. And maybe on the other side, or when we find the way out, right? With our brainstorming, with spirit guidance, with cooperation with like-minded souls, we find harmony. Elton John's Harmony. Looking for an anchor to my boat upon the sea. Harmony. I'll stop there. So, this is Neptunian times, these Piscean times, North Node in Pisces, taking us out, okay, into the chaos, into the wild, into the unknown, into the dream. Our anchor can be harmony. We can do this, folks. We can do this with peace. We can assert ourselves with nonviolent communication. We can be true to ourselves and in relationship, and in community, and in society. We don't need to separate, build walls and fences, and protect ourselves and get guard dogs. And if we have a feast or a banquet, let's invite people into our home. Venus, Jupiter in Cancer is throw a yard party. throw a full moon party. Ow! Yeah, baby. Make it happen. Join hearts, minds, bodies, and souls. This is it. We can do this. Come out of separation into union without losing yourself. That's the task. One more time. Like the hero in a Hollywood movie who's been captured and held down below. I think of Mission Impossible, right? There's a team. There's a team. We can do this, team. In the New Paradigm School of Astrology, everybody's getting to know each other. It's a container, and it's like-minded souls, and we support each other with the stars' wisdom. It's so beautiful. It's amazing. And that brings in another thing. I want to announce that I am modifying the price on my readings according to currency. According to the currency exchange, I want to, help out and make accessible, readings and star wisdom and astrology to people. I've got some tiers that I'm going to try. This is an experiment. I'm taking a little bit of a hit here, but I'm going to give Australia and Canada and New Zealand, a little discount. And then I'm going to go down into developing countries. And if you are just, in South Africa or, Turkey or something, if you're in you're in a spot, where, there's just, you can't afford, a United States astrology reading, I still want to, reach out there. So I'll put a link to my readings below also. And if there's, interest there, I want to just speak that out. And you'll probably hear more about it And I hope it works. I hope people are honest. So, yeah, this is a little help from my friends. We got to get together. We got to help each other. This is, this is the age of Aquarius, where we're moving into this time of Aquarius. It is really about building community in a healthy, holistic, respecting privacy kind of way. So, I got sidetracked. Last time. Like the hero in a Hollywood movie who's been captured and held down below. With the help of my friends, my mind and spirit, I will find the way out. I know. You know. We know. We got this. Namaste. Aloha. So much love. Ow!
Physics always push you around, and gravity's presence always brings you down. Invite the vibrations and the waves they employ. Submit to these motions, try not to avoid the oceans of context that swell from within, and the slippery meaning that walk